Hi guys, welcome back to FPL Zombie for another pre-season draft video where today we're going for the big hitters. Now this is a strategy that I've used a number of times in the past. It's something I have favoured a number of times because it kind of excites me a bit more than some of the other strategies, and it involves cramming in, a number of the guaranteed superstars. Where some people may go for different strategies where they just want maybe one super hitter in each position and then, a very balanced team. I have done this strategy in the past, and some would say that in those seasons I haven't done that well. So I need you to tell me whether this strategy is actually viable. Will it get a decent level of points? Will it be a decent level of return each week, or is there too much risk? Let me know as we go through the team, and if you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. So let's go forward and talk about the team that I've selected for the big hitters. So I've obviously had to save money in goalkeeping and defence. I've had to get it as cheap as I can. So what I've done is I've gone for Joe Hart in goal. He's going to be my main goalkeeper. Recently signed for Burnley. I was looking at, I've been waiting to see where he would end up because I think he could be good value. He's only 4.5 million, and it seems like with Pope and Heaton both injured, he's going to start the season at least. So even if he only has a run for maybe a month or two, I can sub him out for somebody else. But I get the impression, for me, from the sort of guy that Joe Hart is, I don't think he is going to be signing for a club where he's not going to be at least, one of the main goalkeepers. So with Heaton and Pope, you think that he is going to be at least above one of them, but time will tell. At the moment, I think he's going to be number one. So I've selected him, and I've gone for Stecklenburg as my sub goalkeeper. It's a risk if Joe Hart doesn't play, but I think Joe Hart will play, and we'll have to see how that plays out. So moving into defence, as I said, we're saving money, so we've had to go for those 4.5 million. So I've gone for 4 4.5s and 1 4 million. So obviously the £4 million player is Wan Bissaka. I think he's going to be in a lot of teams. Everyone's going to be going for him because of the talk that he is going to be playing at right back, for Crystal Palace. He's been playing in all of the main pre-season games, so that would suggest that he is going to play. But time will tell. He's only 4 million. I think a lot of people are going to get him, and probably if he does play that first game week, everyone's going to notice that they're all going to jump on him. Okay, if he does play that first game week, so I've gone for him. Then I've gone for, players that I think are capable of getting around about the 100 point mark, okay? And because of the way that I've set this team up, all four would play each week, most likely, okay? So again, that is the risk element, okay? And obviously if one of them doesn't play, I'm in trouble, okay? But let me know what you think about this strategy. So the first one I've gone for is Diop. Brand new signing for West Ham. Sometimes the new signings can be an issue, but I've just got a feeling they've spent some big money on him, so I think they're probably going to play him week in, week out. Next, we've gone for Doherty at Wolves. He gets forward, he gets assists. I think the Wolves could be one of those teams because they're bringing these players, they're bringing in established players. I think they're going to be okay. So there's the potential for them to get a few clean sheets. Maybe not a great deal, but they may be able to get more than 7 clean sheets at stretch. We'll have to see, right? Next, I've gone for Tompkins. He's a threat in the box, and Palace were very good at the back end of last season, keeping a number of clean sheets. Him and Sacco, so I've gone for him, and I've also gone for Schindler. Again, kept a number of clean sheets at Huddersfield. Time will tell whether they can replicate that form or whether it's going to nosedive. But I would have thought that those four defenders are capable of getting somewhere between 85 and 100 points for me. So I've gone for them. I've gone for those goalkeepers. So then let's start talking about the big hitters. the big hitters, you know. So in this team, I've gone for 3 big hitting midfielders and 2 big hitting strikers, okay. So no surprise, I've gone for Salah. You know, the #1 player in the game. How can you not go with him? You know, if you don't go with him and then he bangs in a hat-trick on game week 1, you are going to be thinking, wow, I'm already behind week 1. All those guys that captained him, you know, it will be a problem. The second big hitter, KDB. You know, Mr. Reliable. Last season he got about 200 points. And, you know, we spoke about in the previous video that it's all about having Man City coverage, okay? And some people will struggle with that. And the fact that there will be a lot of rotation, centre-halves. You know, they've got, you know, 4 or 5 centre-halves that you're not quite sure who's going to be selected. In offensive midfield, attacking midfield, there's so many players that could get rotated along with the fact that they have the 2 strikers, okay? So it's very, very difficult, you know, to guarantee points. I think Kevin De Bruyne, he is one of the few players that's nailed on, possibly with Kyle Walker and Ederson in goal, that probably will be in most of the starting 11s in almost every single game. Okay, so I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne, goals, assists, set pieces, you know, so you're thinking he's going to get a good amount of points. Then my third big hitter, Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen, wonderful player, just like Kevin De Bruyne. Potential for goals, potential for assists, set pieces, bonus points, just like Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah. There are going to be bonus points galore for all 3 of those players. We've seen that last season, Eriksen got a few more goals than usual, got less assists. The previous season before, he was an assist machine. So we know that he's got the potential to smash in 20 assists. It is possible, okay? So we've got him in there. We've got those 3 huge hitting midfielders, you know. So these are going to be, you know, a massive section of our points week in, week out. I've then had to save money, obviously, in midfield so I can get a couple of big hitters up front. The first one I've gone for is Fernandinho. Now, this is another one. When I spoke about the Man City coverage, Fernandinho played in almost every single game for City last year. He did get moved about, but he played in almost every single game. You know, Pep really relied upon him, and he had some fantastic performances. You know, he got a load of clean sheet additional points. He got about 5 or 6 goals and about 5 or 6 assists. You know, so if he follows that trend, he's going to get about 120 points like last season. You know, you have to think about, you know, that's not far behind players like Richarlison, who was an offensive midfielder, you know, and some of the others that are around about the 6.57 million. He actually got more points than them. Okay, so he makes sense if he plays in that pivot in midfield with KDB just in front of him. He's going to play every single week. Okay, they've got rid of Toure, you know, so he's out of the way. So we have to see, you know, obviously there is the potential for Gundogan to, you know, pull the rug from underneath him, but we'll have to see early on in the season. You know, it's a risk worth taking. Then I filled it up my midfield with a cheap guy, Hudson-Odoi. Now, I think a lot of people might get excited about him, and I think there's the potential for him to play in game week 1, possibly starting, possibly on the bench. But he played in the Community Shield, did quite well. A lot of people got excited about it, so I'm sure that a lot of people have transferred him into their teams. You know, so there is the potential, if he does play game week 1, boom, just like Wan-Bissaka, he could jump up in value. Okay, so, you know, we're not talking about him in the first team, but he is there as a squad man. Let's move on to the strikers. You know, let's talk about the strikers. 3 strikers, 2 big hitters, 1 player that probably won't play. First one, Aubameyang. I'm predicting big things for Aubameyang this season. He did very, very well with just half a season. So a full season, if he can keep injury-free in an Arsenal team who I'm expecting to do relatively well, to be perfectly honest. I think a lot of people are predicting them to be outside of the top 6, but for me, it wouldn't surprise me if they hit the top 4, fairly comfortably. You know, they've improved that back line, you know, and those offensive players are very, very dangerous, okay? So I'm predicting big things for Aubameyang, and I can't have a team without him, to be perfectly honest. Despite the fact that game week 1 is against City, that's something that, in terms of this team, I haven't really considered the run of fixtures, okay? And it's something I will do when I get my final draft of my team later on this week. So, second big hitter, Sergio Aguero. I mean, how can you leave him out after that performance in the Community Shield? You know, if he does play week in, week out, he will get a lot of goals. The only problem, the worry we have is that he could be rotated with Jesus, which he probably will. And the fact is that we saw possibly the start of last season, Jesus started those games. He seemed to be the favourite until he got injured. You know, so it's possible that Pep prefers him. We'll have to wait and see. It might be the case that he played Aguero because he is planning to play Jesus in game week 1. How do we know? You know, it's the risk worth taking. And then I've lined up the squad with 5 million. Bonatini, I had him in the previous team, a 5 million striker. Played every game for Wolves last season. He might not play this season, but if he does, he is good value at 5 million. So let me know, what do you think about this team? What do you think about this team? Having Salah, De Bruyne, Eriksen, Aubameyang and Aguero, is it too heavy a strategy? Is it too heavy a strategy having, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 players over the 10 million mark? You know, having Salah and all these people, is it too much? If I had Aubameyang, Aguero, Eriksen and De Bruyne, do you think I should sacrifice Salah to possibly bring in someone else elsewhere? You know, the only idea I had with this team was to possibly take out Hudson-Odoi and Aguero and bring in Vardy and Maddison from Leicester, which would have given me the opportunity to play 3-5-2. You know, but that is sacrificing the power of Aguero, you know, possibly for the consistency of Vardy. So let me know what you think about that change. Is that a worthwhile change? You know, would it work? Would it give me more flexibility? Let me know in the comment section below. I really want to hear what you say. Let me know about this team. And remember to hit subscribe. I want you to subscribe to this channel. So tomorrow we'll be bringing another video where we'll be talking about a completely different strategy to this one. Okay, before we run up with the end of the week with the team that I'm actually going to go for. You know, we'll be talking about the end of the transfer window and my predictions for the season before we actually come for the big one next week and we review what has happened on game week 1. Good to see ya. I'll see you soon.